Of course. My sister has impeccable timing. Let me try to message her from my phone because I know how she is. She'll keep trying to call me. And hey, you guys. I literally just made or notified the private and public support groups on Facebook. So we'll see who has time to stop in. That's why it's so important, you guys, to hit that notification bell. I haven't made any direct videos on a narcissist and sex in a little while, but I do have content on it, of course. There's over 700 videos on this channel. And I believe I have a Narcissist and Sex playlist as well, you guys, for additional resources. Let me text my sister real quick. I went back and forth, you guys, on whether I should be forward-faced with this video because I literally just got off of a business. I wonder if I mute this, are you guys still going to be able to hear me? I don't know if you can hear all those notifications because it's through my laptop. Okay, so it's still working. Good. All right. How's everybody doing? I know anyone that's been sexual with a narcissist got a story or two, baby. So, I'm just going to go ahead and begin this live chat. I chose not to be forward-faced just because I just wanted the content to be the star of this and not me, honestly. Not to say that I would be the star because I'm forward-faced, but I just wanted to focus on my words more than anything else. Yeah. So let's talk about narcissists and sex. Now, my first disclosure is there are some narcissists who are less sexually inclined than others, you know. But there definitely are narcissists that are extremely sexually inclined, and I'm going to tell you why right now. And these narcissists are over-sexualized, and all of them know that sex is a tool to them that, you know, they're going to use to try to get you hooked and to get you bonded to them. And we call them soul ties, you know. And although, and that's kind of interesting, yeah, it is a soul tie, but I just feel like they're not really tying their soul. You're tying your soul to them more than they're tying theirs to you, per se, you know. In my deep thought, I kind of like meditated on that. But if we just step into our emotional maturity, we'll understand why the typical narcissist is over-sexualized. When nothing else is developed within them, like they're emotionally immature, this is going to be their go-to. If you really think about it, someone that's more 3D focused on material and physical and tangible things, because, you know, they're not thinking about these other things. They're going to be more sexualized just right off the rip if we think about it on that level. And Level Up Channel says, hello, some will withhold sex as a form of pleasure and punishment. And I've had one do that before. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that I was definitely going to mention further down the line, but they really do that. And then, you know, the messed up thing about that is usually the people that the narcissists are with, you know, they have good characters. So these are faithful people that are just like, their sex life is just solely depending on, you know, this narcissist breadcrumbing them or going in and out of cycles of abuses with them, and a whole lot of drama in between that we'll be talking about. Hey, Jeanette, welcome to the live chat. Sue says, my vulnerable narc is very sex focused, except when he shuts down, he's not. Very bizarre. Right. And it's also possible that, when he's not having sex with you, of course, he's having sex with other people. I don't want to accuse people of cheating, but if we're talking about a narcissist here, that's the thing. They may be having a drought with you, but they're not having a drought sexually, period, because their chances are they're doing it with someone else. Hi, Angel 7. Good. I'm glad that you did leave him, Level Up channel. Angel 7 says, I have no interest in sex. I used to love it. Absolutely. That is definitely something on my list here to talk about, the psychological bruises and damages that we end up having to address, if we want to get healthy again, because after going through all that abuse, with this narcissist sexually, and they are abusing you sexually, even if they aren't having angry sex with you or strangling you, it's still the emotional and psychological abuse that goes with them from the withholding and whatnot, that, can definitely create a lot of sexual roadblocks in your head and being disconnected from yourself sexually, and definitely needing to have to reconnect with yourself, after that situation. But, your lack of interest from sex is, to me, lets me know that it's just a shutdown because of that frustration. And now emotionally, you may associate sex with a lot of hardships, and that becomes a turn off psychologically. So, that just lets me know that you have some healing to do, Angel 7, from, that experience, and that person probably did a number on you. So, I definitely wouldn't want them to win, because we're all, sexual beings on some type of level here. Hello, Cherry 48196. Level Up channel says they think their drama matters so much to a person. When you leave them, they look so stupid. Yeah. And you get to see them for who they are once you have those rosy colored glasses off, and, you've broken that soul tie and your eyes are just wide open. Of course he cheated, Angel 7. They need a lot of stimulation. And this is female, we're not just talking about male narcissists here. I do have a 30% male following. So if there are any males in the room, female narcissists, they aren't any better. If anything, they could be. No, I'm not going to say one's worse than the other. They're both very trifling. So Mikey says, mine use anger to express she wanted sex. Yeah, yep. And that's something on the list as well, the angry sex, and a way for them to use sex to further abuse people. Let me move this from over here. This is blocking the live chat. Hi, Natalie. How are you doing today, sweetie? I'm just reading these comments before I read them out loud, because sometimes trolls hop in here. The T on MPD in relationship says they will also sometimes refuse to finish with their partner to make their partner feel insecure. Yeah, and this is like, part of that mind fuck that you experience with a narcissist. And you're not really making love to them, and they're not finishing with you, to the T on NPD and relationships and everyone else. They're not interested in fulfilling your desires, just like every other aspect of their life. They're just trying to get you to cater to their sexual needs and desires. Yours don't count. Like they don't count outside of the bedroom. They're not going to, miraculously start just counting in that one area, And this is the thing. They just get so sadistic with this, and that's what leaves those psychological bruises on another person. They love to coerce you into, doing sexual acts that you don't want to do. Let you tell a narcissist, like, I'll never do this, I'll never do that. They will make it their sole mission, just out of control, just to feel powerful, just to feel like they conquered you. not to just get you open, not to show you what you're missing, not in some like a loving, fun, playful energy, but no, just to get you to coerce you, to push you past your boundaries, to try to just run over it. Like this is the type of energy that you're dealing with here, to get you out of your comfort level. And then once they're able to push you to do that, then they'll try to shame and guilt you. And now you're nasty and dirty. You know, they'll try to make you feel like, well, you're the one that did this. You know, you're totally being coerced there. And, you know, they have these dark fantasies. And, you know, that's where that angry sex come in, or the violence or the aggressive sex. And, you know, even rape. You know, some narcissists will get off to feeling like they raped you. You didn't want to have sex, and they literally will rape you. And even in situations where you were dating this person and had consensual sex with them in the past, and even if you weren't dating, even if you're married, you know, a husband or even a wife could rape. Rape does happen. That's when you're not consenting and someone forces themselves on you. So you're never going to feel fulfilled in your sexual relationship with them because you're never making love with them. I mean, at first, it might simulate that. It might feel like that because it feels like it's fun and exciting and playful. But once you start peeling those layers of onions back and you're seeing, you know, how everything is falling into place in the rest of your relationship, you'll know that this isn't love. This isn't love. That's why, you know, I always want to try to get to survivors who are missing sex with the narcissist. You know, their perception really has to, you know, we need a shift in that, because that's going to keep you bonded there. Because whether you want to or not, you know, there's chemicals being released, bonding chemicals being released when you have sex with someone. And the more you do it, the more connected, especially generally speaking, for the feminine energy to the masculine. And, you know, the interesting thing about them coercing you to do these dark fantasies or coercing you into doing things that you don't even want to get into, they'll be completely ungrateful for it and probably find a way to complain about it. And this is all about, you know, putting you down. They could be body shaming you. And you'll always feel like somehow you're not good enough. And in their mind, you're not, because, you know, if they're over sexualized, they're watching all this porn and everything. And it's just a lot, you guys. It's a lot. It's a lot. So they get into this thing where they treat you poorly after sex. So now, you know, they've gotten you, they've released their filth onto you. They've gotten you to bow down and do things you didn't want to do. And then afterwards, you know, the intimacy is still not going to be felt. They're going to probably start treating you poorly because they got what they wanted now. They dominated over you. They, you know, made you be submissive and do things that are demeaning, perhaps. And they got that instant gratification, and now they're going to treat you poorly, like, oh, you're old news now, until they want to get back into that energy again. And then, you know, typically survivors are then left feeling used and violated. So with narcissists and sex, is just so many aspects to that. You know, we're not even talking about the infidelities at this point. And so many survivors have emailed me about contracting STDs because, you know, these people are running off of emotions, which means they're not being logical. And since they think they're so invincible and they're so shallow, if a man or a woman looks clean, they must not have an STD, right? And then if they give you one, you gave it to them, you know. It's always going to be running from accountability, even when it comes to that. Or they'll go run and smear you to everybody else, put your business out there, and it's really theirs. Or they could go get themselves treated and never tell you, you know, they're not that type of partner. And then when you tell them, you caught something. I don't know how you got it because I don't. Like, we're all, yeah. Yep. So it's just a lot going on. And, survivors, they take a hit on their self-esteem. And that's it, because there's no compromising. And sex is about two people coming together. And it's really just you coming together with demonic entities. And that's like the gross part about it. When you really think about it, like you were sleeping with these demons. You weren't even, because that narcissist, they're flesh, but they're a vessel for demons or demonic entities. And that's who you were actually laying down with. And you start missing the narcissist because you're getting attached to those demons yourself. They start getting attached to you. Shirley Jones says they're just straight nasty beings. They really are. Marilyn Monroe says, I've shifted for 17 months, getting stronger every day. Good. Yeah, like once it really came full circle to me, I was absolutely disgusted, that I'd even, been with that person in that way. Angel 7 said the last time was angry sex. It's humiliation to the core. Right. The whole thing that I want to say is when we get in our strength, and a lot of times we're beat down in these relationships, we don't have to tolerate that. You really don't. And it's really sad that we get in such a weakened state that, we do accept this treatment because it's destroyed your self-confidence, and then you're sexually awkward after those experiences. But I would just say to accept what happened without internalizing it. Like, you can accept the experience. Like, yes, I was with a toxic person. They didn't really care about me. We weren't really making love, and I was sexual with them. Or for those of you who even might have been raped, I wrote a book on that, Silent Tears, for anyone that is interested in that. And it's a therapeutic book that, has a lot of assignments and little activities in there to help you reconnect with yourself after that. But yeah, you're definitely going to have to work on doing that, because you deserve to have a healthy sex life. And just because you experience some trauma in that area, it doesn't mean that you can't eventually go on to recover from that and have a sex life that's healthy with someone who's not a narcissist, So, with a narcissist, is always going to be an excessive focus on the physical, rather than the emotional. And that's another reason why narcissists are more sexual or sexualized. They don't want to really focus on the emotions, especially not the emotions that, would render a healthy relationship. That's why when I was researching for this live chat, it kept saying making love without, oh, you're making love to the narcissist, but not love making. I'm like, no, I hate to be vulgar here, but, they're pretty much just fucking you at that point. This is not making love on any type of level. I just feel like they probably couldn't put the words that needed to be put there, and they had to just keep calling it love making. But the first thing we need to do to get that reality check is stop calling it that. Stop calling it that. It was just some power move by the narcissist to get you hooked. And, sex is a very intimate thing, whether they're treating it that way or not. I mean, how much more intimate can two people get at that point? So I'm going to open the floor right now. If anybody has any questions about the Narcissist and Sex, you can bring it up. I mean, I've made the videos on people who've gotten pregnant by narcissists, which ends up being one of the worst seasons of their life. You know, that's when they really show their asses. And, you know, that's another way that they use sex to secure supply, you know. I mean, if you get someone pregnant, chances are you're going to have, that's a tie. That's a forever tie. His family tree is permanently tied to yours, basically. And, you know, this child is going to be a minor for how long? 18 years and then more. So it's a way for the narcissist to keep that tie to you without having to marry you. And I know that's really trifling, but I know I've seen and witnessed men go make babies with all these different women and bounce back and forth in between them. And then a lot of times when they're so toxic and moving out of desperation, they're fighting over him, all of them. And this is what they want. Because as long as you're still fighting for them, that means you still want them. There's an interest, and, you know, they're having their cake and eating it too. I mean, narcissists have gotten people pregnant and given them STDs at the same time. I've had survivors email me about getting incurable STDs on top of that. And they were just heartbroken. Heartbroken. Yes, you did, Natalie, but you're doing great. Natalie did a lot of email coaching with me, and she's doing awesome in her situation. And her baby is very healthy and happy and thriving. That's awesome. But a lot of women, and you're already so emotional when you get pregnant as it is. And during the time when you're most vulnerable, the sadistic ass narcissist gets their rocks off to treating you the worst, because they feel like, where can you go? You're stuck now. When you're never really stuck, even if you're choosing, you know, to have the child, you're still not stuck. You still don't have to be under their control. But it really gets under my skin. So many beautiful women, and these women have sent me pictures of them full-blown pregnant, absolutely stunningly beautiful people. That's how I know narcissists are on a mission to take light. They're dark, and they're here to dim light. They come against special people, you know, kind hearts that we need more of on this earth. And, you know, their mission is to get you bitter, to get you broken, so that your light won't be able to be used to lighten up this world. And, you know, the way God works, he works through relationships and people and connections. And you're not going to be any good to anyone else if that narcissist makes you a wreck and you stay that way, you see. So it's always a bigger issue going on here. And this is why survivors really have to become more discriminatory about their sexual partners. And I understand sometimes, and to each his own, some people want to be in a space where I'm just having fun, Lakia. I ain't looking for a husband. I ain't looking for a wife. But, you know, sex is not to be taken lightly, ever, really, ever. But especially now in 2021. You have to be careful. You have to make sure, you know, my rule of thumb is a committed relationship. Sex should be minimally in some type of committed relationship. And I know, like, some people might be like, oh, I'm not in that space. I don't want a committed relationship. Well, you know, sex has a lot of consequences, whether you're committed or not. And whoever you lay with, even if you're playing, needs to be of a certain caliber. Even if you're in an energy of, well, I'm not really looking for nothing serious, still don't lay down with no fucking fleas. Don't pick anybody. Don't just, oh, well, I'm not looking for anything serious and he's attractive. That's good enough for me right now. No, anything could pop off. You always have to think of the worst case scenarios. You could get pregnant from somebody that's a friends and a benefit. That's why everybody in your circle need to be solid, even if you ain't, you know, looking to make them this and that. Because if anything pop off, you need to know. And if you're just with, you know, this playboy, this pretty boy that's sleeping in its community dick, really, at that point, you're just sharing it with everybody else. Like, you should want more than that. You really got to want more than that. Like, it's really not worth it. Once you get those heavy consequences, it will not be worth that orgasm, or, that that nut that you got, whatever you want to call it. Look, it's not even going to be worth all of that at that point. You wish that you kept your legs closed. And, Dominique Williams says, I've made the mistake of believing him, and I stayed and I assumed we was building together, but all along he had an agenda. Right. Yeah, generally speaking, Dominique, and I understand, like, some women are okay with that building mess. It's usually best to not build with a man per se. You can increase with a man, you can come together with him, but usually I don't recommend women go build with a man, because a lot of times he don't stay with that woman, and she's not the one that benefits off of that building. The next woman does. So you don't want to be the stepping stool. And Dominique, you deserve to have a ready-made man. And there's billions of men out here. And if you're Black, I understand the struggles may be in a Black community with Black men not being up to par as much, and not being able to meet Black women where they are, as we're the most educated group. And, we tend to be we're doing our thing out here, generally speaking. Even a single Black mom with 6 kids could be doing better than a Black man with none. And to me, it's like, what is you doing? But, Dominique, that's no reason for you to settle. And I understand why some Black women who don't go outside the community, don't date outside their race, they end up with these suspect guys, Yeah, but I would definitely encourage you to be open-minded, racially speaking. And, there are good brothers out there too, but too many of them are not up to par. I will say that. Sue Ludwig said, I read that they have a Madonna white ideology. You're either one or the other. I don't know about all that. I just feel like it's just this general energy of control, and them wanting their needs to be met. And that's it. You're only having sex when they feel like it. Like, you got to be kidding me. The more people start checking them, that's what I'm saying. We have to disempower them. And don't let them chase you back. Like, you might reject them and say, you know what, this doesn't work for me. I need X, Y, and Z. I need more intimacy. I need somebody to please me. And, don't let them love bomb you back just to get you back into the similar situation, if they seem like they're on good behavior. Like, don't give people, that's the thing that survivors do, because we love people. We give them second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh chances to put more knives in our back. Like, once somebody really show you who they are, because we're all grown, you don't have to give them another opportunity. It's okay. Just let go of what you thought that was going to be. Be okay with the ending and keep it moving. Keep it moving. Natalie says, can you explain the traits of a sociopath, and can they be a sociopath narcissist? Of course, all sociopaths are narcissists. I'll just say that right off the rip. Now, sociopaths, they're in the middle of the spectrum, and these on the lowest range are like your petty criminals, or it could be someone who's very criminalized, have a lifestyle of being in and out of jail a lot of times. These are definitely rambunctious, loud, flashy, they need a lot of stimulations. But the main things that make them that sociopath is the criminal side of them. They tend to have that criminal record. See, psychopaths, they may do criminal things, but they're so intelligent that they can literally fly under the radar. A sociopath is not that intelligent. They're more intelligent than a low-range narcissist, but they're not as smart as a psychopath. So they're going to have a paper trail. And they might even prefer that paper trail, honestly. And a sociopath needs to have attention in a certain way that a psychopath doesn't. And a lower range narcissist needs to have that attention too. So the sociopath is more prone to do the crime and have to tell somebody. You know, these are them stupid idiots on Facebook with all the money in their hand, knowing that they legit work at McDonald's and now they have all this money. You know what I'm saying? They gotta get that glory. They gotta be on front stage. A psychopath could commit a crime and be happy internally, like just knowing that they were able to pull that off. You know, if they were able to say, make an airplane explode in the air, they set that shit up, and they ain't tell not near one motherfucker soul, but they could be in a cut somewhere watching that shit explode, and they would be filled with so much joy sadistically because they pulled it the fuck off. And because they were able to sneak and do it, made it even sweeter. But a sociopath, they have to be seen for it. So, you know, sociopaths are way more reckless, but psychopaths are way more dangerous. Way more dangerous. You know, you might spend your whole life with someone and not really know. Like these women who, we've been married for 25 years and this guy's been murdering women behind the scenes for like the last 20 of them and coming home and getting back in bed with her. You know, they might have positions in society. They actually might have good careers, a lot of money, and be in a high position in society. But behind the scenes, you know, there's a lot of dirtiness going on. And, you know, back to the top. I hope that helped you, Natalie, by the way. But back to the topic, you know, narcissists, yeah, you'll see them in the porn industry. You'll see them in sex parties and, you know, they're doing all that group sex stuff and swinging with people. And, you know, a narcissist would love an open relationship. Dominique says he is always like that and it's a mess. Sue said he always wanted to dominate. Me too. Mommy issues. Yeah. A hate for women can be beneath there, but just that sheer energy of wanting to be in control of something. Because, yeah, if we go all the way back to their inner childhood wounds, they could have been raped themselves, you know, and they're replaying this. But sometimes people turn into their abusers. So the abuse that they had, you know, they start spilling that on other people. And yeah, he could have had a really toxic relationship with his mom. And now, you know, he takes it out on every woman that he gets with, you know. Definitely keep moving. No one has to see, we have choices. I said this in yesterday's live chat. We have a choice. We don't have to accept, you know, this abusive sexual nature. We just don't have to accept the narcissist, period. But, you know, you don't have to accept that either. I'm just reading these comments before I read them out loud, you guys. So Jane Teller said he told me he wasn't into sex and that he didn't get anything out of it, but had multiple affairs. Right. So he just told you that to lower your expectations. You know, he wasn't, let's reword this, because I've made videos on what the narcissist says versus what they mean. So Jane, if I were to just restate that of what he was trying to tell you indirectly, I'm not into sex with you. I don't get what I need out of sex with you. You know, maybe you weren't willing to do the things that other girl is. I seen a narcissist who put up a video. It was like a year ago, but I bumped into it a couple of days ago. And the narcissist had a nerve. Number one, they all think they're pimps. Some of them think they're pimps. They really do. They think that they're the biggest pimp in the world. Like I'm talking about, you know how Snoop Dogg has the facade of a pimp. Like some of them really think that they're a pimp. They really do. So this guy, you know, they'll make wear the suits and everything and really think they're doing something. But this guy who thinks he's a pimp, who happens to be a narcissist, was making this video trying to make a public service announcement to other women, talking about y'all need to step y'all games up out here, because it's bitches that's willing to do this and bend over and do that, and why y'all just doing this basic stuff, they out here doing this and that. Y'all need to step your games up because they out here taking niggas' men's and all this and that. But you know what? If some girl take your man, he wasn't yours. That's what you really got to understand. But, this person was just boiling a woman down to how many bedroom tricks she can do, and if she can outdo the smuttiest smut of all the smuts. Like, come on now. This was his public service announcement to women. Rolanda Beck says, Lakia, I found out that this thing has no boundaries or filters. He is sleeping with his niece. I wish I could blow them out the water, but everything in the dark will come to the light. Right. And it's not even your battle. You just need to get yourself out of that equation. And that's a really good point to, point out, on a more sadistic side of things, beyond a narcissist just trying to degrade you and push your boundaries, and they don't care. Like, survivors have told me, look, he's forced anal sex on me and tore my rectum. It took over a year for it to heal. I had to take medicines to have soft stools to even heal. He didn't even use lubrications or anything. Like, people have gotten injuries from this. Now every time that person gets constipated, she gets a little tear and it's painful again. Like, people have told me all types of consequences they've had from a narcissist. You had a baby by them, the doctor tell you to wait 6 weeks, and they want what they want, and they're going to try to take what they want to take. Yeah, they're going to try to, push those medical boundaries. You could be sick or anything. A doctor tell you shouldn't be, and they want. Because it's not about you. It's not about your health, and it's not about what's best for you. It's just whatever is making them feel good in the moment. And yeah, they'll sleep with their family members. It's disgusting. And, this is horrible. And I remember when I first started this channel, a survivor told me about the narcissist fondling her daughter, her 9-year-old daughter. I mean, we see stuff on the news all the time with these narcissists. This one narcissist, this was recently, like maybe, I want to say 5 or 6 weeks ago. I seen it on the news. The guy had a little daughter, which I think she wasn't even 8 months old yet. She was really young. And he got mad at the mother. And this is the daughter he had with the mother. He raped that baby. And then killed her. I seen this picture of this little girl, and it just is one of the reasons why I don't directly watch the news, because it's just full of stories like that. And me being an empath and an energy person, and especially before I go to bed, I don't want it on my head because I know how I am. But, I've heard, my 3 Love JSA, people have done that, narcissists, like, there's a dark side to human beings, maybe more like a psychopath might like to even sleep with dead people, they go out and murder and kill people and then sleep with the victim. Like, there's really a dark side to, sexuality, and it really gets dark out here. That's why you really got to watch who you're bringing into your life here. Like, you really got to take this sex thing serious. You can't just get flushed up with your feelings. Look, there's cold showers. There's all types of toys. There's masturbation. Like, at the end of the day, especially if you have children, you can't just be jumping into anybody's car, all these one-night stands and all this stuff. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that for yourself. Because there are some consequences out here. We can't just be all willy-nilly. Like, we don't live in that kind of world. We don't live in that kind of world. You know, for those of you who are that single out there, I know that you have feelings too. You know, we all grown, but there has to be a healthier way. There has to be a healthier way. And it's not worth it at the end of the day, because your hormones, you might have that feeling, it's going to fly over. It's a temporary feeling on top of that. But you have to value your body. Your body has to become your temple. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Ask the women who have had to go through a pregnancy with a narcissist who didn't feel comfortable with having to have an abortion. Or ask the women who chose to have an abortion and, you know, mentally that hurt them as well. Like, you know, either way is something psychological that you're going to have to get over with. And then guess what? That narcissist wasn't there holding that woman's hand when she had to go get that abortion. And that she's never going to forget, that she feels guilty about, possibly. I mean, sometimes, you know, people don't feel guilty. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, but I know the typical survivor, you know, we're empaths. Natalie says, this is why I'm not trusting my narcissist with my son or who he associates with, because they have low standards and no boundaries. Right. Absolutely. Anything goes with them. And while we're talking about that, they're not all straight. Shit. I know that a narcissist that I dealt with in the past would probably do something strange for some change with a man. Like, he could have been bought because he was too money centered. And I'm like, people like that, they got a price. They have a price. And if they're that over sexualized, a regular woman is not going to be enough. And the key to that is, if he focused a lot on anal sex, chances are he went that way. I'm telling you that right now. If he had too much of an interest around the rectal area, wanting you to like maybe put your fingers there, or, you know, anything like that, or he wanted to go into yours, chances are, you know, for those of you who are sleeping with men that are like that now, right now, it's a high chance that, you know, he could be bisexual. Or you don't even know if he might really prefer men over you, or if they're sneaking and doing things. And if, in another sign, if they've had a long jail sentence and you happen to get with them, you know, they've done years or a lot of years, chances are they dabbled into something in jail. And a lot of times that's not where it might have started. They could have been abused. Like, it could have been a male that was abused by a male when he was little. You know what I mean? It could have started there. But, you know, let's say they never got their healing. They never had support in their life. And, you know, as life goes on, they become a delinquent. They're in and out of the system and all this stuff. And, yeah, they'll come off as homophobic. As a matter of fact, that's another sign. The harder they need to prove that they're not gay, because, you know, you can have a calm energy and reassurance about it. You ain't got to be hateful. Like, when they're that strong and bent on proving that they don't have nothing to do with it, to me, that's trying too hard. It's just trying too hard. Why do you have to do all of that? That's extra. What are you trying to really cover up here? What are you hiding? So that's another clue to me that, you know, it might be something, you know, might be something extra going on there. Jane Teller, wait a minute. Hold on, Jane. I see your comment. I'm just going to go to Rolanda first. Rolanda says, I left that thing, but my question is, do they ever get caught? Caught by who? Of course, they could get caught for cheating, for sure. But if you mean like sleeping with family members and stuff like that, it's possible that they could get caught. But a lot of times families like to sweep things under the rug too. You know, a lot of times things get swept under the rug. And then sometimes, you know, just them and God knows for the most part. But a lot of times things get swept under the rug. Jane Teller says, hold on, Jane. Let me get to Natalie. She was a few comments up. She says she's doing abstinence now. And, sometimes that is appropriate, but I don't want you to feel like you can't be sexual, you can learn how to self-please and wait for that relationship where, it's really healthy for you to be able to be vulnerable, because that's exactly what you are, vulnerable. Especially women, we're most vulnerable when we let a guy in. I don't want you to feel forced to abstinence, especially if you don't want to be, but everything in seasons too. You got to wait for the right opportunity. But there are plenty of ways to, subside yourself. And I understand, even for me, I wouldn't look as masturbation as like my full course meal. That's just like something on the side. I don't like making it my full course meal, but you know what? If it needs to be, and that's a lot better than letting somebody who's undeserving, I will definitely take that at that point, because I know better. And it's too many single moms out here who's had children by narcissists who don't pull their weight, and, who got to go through all these decades of, working extra jobs. And it's a lot. And then still dealing with their little bullshit here and there and trying to mentally dust that off. And then the children not getting the father that they want to get. It's a lot of consequences to that. We have to make it more sacred. Like, we can't just be giving people these babies. Like, make these men earn it the right way. And then sometimes your husband was a narcissist. Sometimes you really did. You got married and it still didn't work out because they wasn't right within, So yeah, it's a lot. And then you end up being a single mom after being a wife. Star says, thanks for the live chat. As awful as everything sounds, you're speaking the truth. We must have felt guilty or embarrassed. We have intuition. We need to protect our minds, bodies, and spirits. Yeah, it just speaks to our brokenness, or, our wanting to be desired, our wanting to be accepted, And sometimes it's an afterthought, Hold on a minute. Yeah. So, and what I was saying is sometimes it's an afterthought, you guys. Because sometimes when they creep something on you, and in the moment, it's like, I don't know about that. And you're not really for it. And then they're just like, one thing leads to another. Sometimes it's an afterthought that happens. And then you realize after the fact, like, that was completely wrong. Sometimes it is an afterthought with sex. Even if it feels a little awkward in the moment, it don't come full circle to you until afterwards. Like, wait a minute, there was something really wrong about that. I didn't really want to do that. And a lot of times, especially when it comes to rape, and I've made several really, really good videos on this channel to help rape survivors and to speak to their soul and their bruises. But, we could freeze, And when that happens, you don't even know what it felt like at that point. And you're kind of zoned out. It's like an outer body experience. And yeah, because our body understands that it's being violated, and we have different ways when we are in a traumatic experience, or we have a lot of fear hitting us at one time. We can have that fight, flight, or freeze. But the freeze, a lot of people don't talk about the freezing. Yeah, we can fight somebody off and we can run away, which is the flight, but a lot of people don't talk about the freezing, and that's so appropriate when we're talking about rape, because that happens a lot, and that's also messes with our memory during that time. And that's why a lot of times rape survivors, they may only be able to recall up to a certain point, and then there's like a block of time where you can't even fully account for it. And then it might pick back up when he gets off of you or when she gets off of you. Yeah, it's very psychological, but in those moments, our brain is trying to protect us. And it determined that it would be more painful for you to remember and see that than for you to not. Or it could even be a situation where you remember it and then it leaves your memory because it's so traumatic. It went in the back of your mind somewhere. And this is where people can get like hypnotized. Sometimes they may try to do something like that to try to re-trigger it, or if they want to remember it, or if they go to the police and it's like they can't give them all the details they want, and then they feel a certain kind of way. And then society isn't the most comforting with this. Like even with the Me Too movement and everything, society, a lot of times they shame the victim more than help the victim. What were you doing there? Why did you go over there? Oh, you dressed the wrong way. You know, it's ways to make it your fault. Like you were asking for it. Jane says, I feel worthless. I'm broken. He showed no guilt, no remorse, no apology. Just sat there as I broke my heart and cried and said nothing. Yeah. I'm wondering if you're talking about a rape with that, Jane. With you feeling like that, you definitely don't have to go at it alone. You know, some things are above our own heads, and there are resources out there to help with something like that. And then, you know, we could just talk about all types of things. Like narcissists could have sex with animals. Like, oh my gosh, I heard about a girl, she had sex with a horse. And I don't know if anyone's ever seen a horse genital. Like it's maybe 4 times the size as a male one, easily. And you can only imagine like her internal organs, like she had to like bleed internally. I'm like, what in the world would possess someone to be that desperate? You know, there's a sexual demon inside of that person. For sure. But yeah, Jane, I would definitely, you know, get some counseling behind that. And there's a lot of resources. If you like go on the RAIN website, you know, I've helped survivors with that too. If you're interested, you can go to my website, lakiacrawford.com. But there's a lot of professionals and people that can, you know, help talk you through that and, you know, try to help you get to the root of what's your blockage in your case. But like I said earlier, if we can accept what happened without internalizing it, you know, it sounds like you're probably internalizing it a lot. All right, so I'm going to move down on these comments. Yeah, Dominic says, Lord, we run into it without even knowing it. And that's the thing. We really have to work on not looking to be swept away. The more in control you can stay, and I've said this in so many videos, you can enjoy someone's time without getting swept away. You can enjoy the beginning of a relationship when it's all brand new and everybody's coming off perfect. You know, you can enjoy those times without getting swept away, knowing that there's another phase of the relationship, knowing that there's narcissists out there, knowing that there's predators out there. We have to see who the real source is. But a lot of times we make these quick judgments on people based off of a temporary, they were able to make you feel this way in the short term because it's just the beginning of the relationship here, And then honestly, some predators are even patient. Like they'll try to play their position for as long as they can, because while they're waiting to sleep with you, they're already sleeping with other people anyway. So that gives them the patience. They have somebody else in the meanwhile that they can, demean and put all their filth on and get to do the sexual acts while they're waiting for the newness. Because it's always going to be funner to them to do it with somebody new, because everyone else has been there, done that. And this is why they have to cheat as well. They like to conquer, they like to control. And then not only that, the old person starts to get hip to them. The old person will eventually want to be reciprocated. So they're going to have to swap it off eventually. Or you're going to get tired of just having this one-sided interaction with them. So Indigo says, we wanted the best for them and we think they wanted the same for us. The same with sex. We were wrong. Yeah, they definitely didn't want the same. We were definitely wrong about that. So we can't be quick to jump to these conclusions. And just because, someone tells us everything, and we can't be fleshful. A lot of times it's because we're fleshful. And why is that happening? Especially if we were in all these chain relationships, we're coming from starvation mode, So we're just hungry for the tension. We're hungry for the affection. And that makes it really easy for that narcissistic energy to slip right on back up in there. And that's why if you get reacquainted with yourself, knock the edge off of yourself, you see what I'm saying? Become best friends with yourself, become more self-fulfilled. You're not so hasty for anything. But yeah, they'll get their needs met, and it's like, well, you better get one while I'm getting mine. If you don't, it's too bad. It's more of that energy. Very, very selfish. And you'll pick up on awareness. A lot of times they'll have something weird that they'll do during sex. Something very weird. Or they might have to come a certain way, or they might just do something very quirky. And there's a difference between, maybe someone that might be freaky and then someone that's doing something quirky. Yeah, and sometimes we need that moment of abstinence. Angel 7 is like co-signing Natalie. She's like, oh, I'm just abstinent now. Yeah. That's fine. And I did it myself, I'm a rape survivor. And after my rape, I took like 18 months away from sex. And I waited until I naturally wanted to get back out there in there. I waited. And it's okay to wait until you don't have to force the issue. I just don't want anyone to feel like, they have to become an old maid or deny their sexual, the sexual aspect of themselves. Hold on a second, you guys. Hold on 1 second. Thanks for holding on, you guys. I had to take a phone call. And then I have like 3 screens in front of me. I'm like, where the hell did the scroller go? All right, let me scroll down these comments. Jane Teller says, why do they stop sleeping with us but have multiple affairs? Do they feel turned off by us? Probably bored. And it could happen for a lot of reasons. They could have been mad at you over something and bored, and new supply is always going to be better than old supply. So, yeah, that's what that is. And it's not something for you to take personally. Like, even Holly Berry dated like a sex addict, and she's amazingly beautiful. So it doesn't matter how beautiful you are. It doesn't matter how well you can perform in the bed. It doesn't mean that your sex isn't good or anything. That's their shit. And that's the thing. We have to separate it. It's theirs. Yeah. Dominique says, I ordered my special friend today. I agreed, time to protect my mind, spirit, and body. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that in the time being. And some survivors never even really got acquainted with themselves. And, that leaves you susceptible. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, you'll have better sex with, your partner the more that you get to explore and know your own body. It really should be a prerequisite before you, start having sex with others. But it empowers you, Like I know I have a family member, she says she never masturbates and she'll only just ever have sex with a guy. Well, that could put her in a position to be, number one, hasty and move into sex pretty quick if she doesn't have self-control. And number two, I feel like you know your body a lot better. Rolanda Beck says, I have kept all this inside for a long time. There was no one for me to talk to about everything the thing was doing. I thank you for the platform. Yeah. Yeah. You can't, misplace your trust in people. Aw, awesome, Angel 7. I'm glad that you're here too. RTW says, mine was for me, and he forewarned me the last time we were together, but he was really going to unleash himself on me sexually. I opted out. Oh my gosh, I'm sure that caused a narc injury. But this is the thing. Sometimes the survivor does say no. And then if that narcissist is really toxic, they'll attempt or successfully rape that person. Sandra says, disassociation, watching yourself from the outside like a movie makes it more surreal and harder to believe our memories. Yeah, it could. It could. Mm-hmm. And then, that person try to gaslight you if you approach them on it, or if it was, in a dating relationship. But yeah, it could create elements of confusion, basically. Yeah, welcome to the live chat, Marnie Powell. Yeah, and that's the thing. Happy to have haters. Says, that's tough. I definitely internalized everything I went through. So just envision that, internalizing something. If you're just stuffing something inside of something, eventually it's going to get full. RTW says, also, I found out the young men in these countries experimented with other boys, and it's not harem if they are not the initiators. Has to be the others. I found this out after 1 year of love bombing. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what country you're in. You know, there are certain parts of the world that, allow for children to be with adults, or it's more swept under the rug. It's, more socially accepted. Mm-hmm. And she's RTW is talking about mine had several accounts, found later, Tumblr and stuff, and I found out, and it was a complete shock. Yeah. 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 The internet is definitely full of a lot of narcissists. Not only narcissists, but a lot of them. And they need that stimulation. And I think I said this in another live chat a couple of days ago. All they got to do with a phone is charge it, and now they can go on Instagram and everywhere and see all these over sexualized women who are willing to just put it all out there. Yeah. Yeah. And female narcissists, that's how they get their supply. And, men, with all that testosterone and in typical men, if you could put it on them, that's something of value to most men, that are maybe a little lesser evolved, but just generally men anyway. They put that on a pedestal. And female narcissists understand that. If he's already trying to protect and provide, he just want a way to distress. And if that narcissistic woman can do all this stuff, and that's how they get him. So many men have come into coaching sessions with me and they miss the sex. And they say they have a hard time finding the non-narcissistic women to be that way, to be uninhibited and, be wild and all this other stuff. And it's like this adrenaline rush, really, because they're not just giving them the sex, they're giving them all this drama, and it's creating a chase, which a lot of men, that may be more in their toxicity are looking for that chase. And then they get to divide and conquer again, or feel like they are, even though that narcissistic woman is in control, really. Don Barr said, I've never seen a woman that can lie so professionally. She's got a doctorate and a PhD in lying. Okay, well, they out here. Shoot. And then they'll be pushing somebody else's baby on you, like all types of mess. Have you in drama with other men. You be the side person thinking you're the main person. They do, male narcissists do the same thing. Because a lot of times survivors get it confused and they may think because they're having sex with someone that, or if they tell you what you want to hear, of course we're exclusive, and it's not even true. Happy to have haters says my ex was different. He made it seem like the experience was about me, but I think it's because I had been abstinent before he came along. Before I was comfortable, he withheld sex as a punishment. Yeah, and then some, it's an ego stroke too. If he feels like he pleased you and rocked your world, that's an ego stroke too, especially if you made sure that you told him that. So, and that's his self-interest of getting his, even though he was pleasing you to achieve it, but ultimately it was still for him to get that ego stroke. Like, yeah, I was the first one to get her after her hiatus. So be careful with that. Shoot, I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of times when you have been off the market for a long time, you have to be so careful about that first person you let in. Because the narcissist would definitely want to be the one who was able to break you. And then you might feel bad about it afterwards because it's like, damn, I waited all that time just to sleep with this toxic motherfucker. Like, what? Like, it just, you don't want to do that. So be very, very careful. When you have been abstinent for a long time, for some reason, that is when you can attract that energy. Like, be so careful. Right. Obviously. Yep. Sandra, she says, don't force or pressure ourselves to do anything. Right. And get out of there if you can. Just get out of there. Say no. We need to step our no game up. And the funny thing is, when you do that and put up those boundaries, they might chase you harder. And in the meanwhile, they're still going to be sleeping with other people, of course, but it might actually turn them on, because narcissists are usually they're usually used to getting things easier. They don't usually have to work that hard, because they just be charming and, you know, put some smiles on your face. You know, they might try to use alcohol. You know, that's another aspect. Putting things in your drink, you might not know about it. Making a little moonshine, like have you smoking something, taking something you're not sure. You might think you taking regular weed and you done took something else. Like, you know, they could take advantage of you as well when you're intoxicated. Or they might be trying to purposely get you intoxicated so that, you know, you can let your guard down and be looser with things. You know, these things happen as well. We just have to be so careful. Like, and although there's always been, you know, things to be careful about in this world, it's just getting worse with time. That's all. It really is, you guys. Okay. So RTW was saying it was in Egypt where this was, you know, and that sounds right. I can believe that. I can definitely believe that. Happy to have haters said, I found your page when I was trying to understand what I was going through. First time catching you live. Aw, amazing. Welcome. But yeah, I've been on here for what? Over 2 years now. And let me talk about this narcissist. All narcissists are not skilled. All of them are not good in bed. Like, I had a girlfriend who believed she was with a narcissist, and she said the sex sucked. But, you know, he was giving her the attention. So eventually, you know, the sex flowed his way, but he was never even good at it. Like, oh my gosh. Like, some people, that's usually not the case though. But there are people who have that side of the coin too, where it wasn't even good anyway. And, you know, Jane Teller says, my narc was so boring and robotic in bed. Yeah, they're very robotic. Even the ones who are supposedly skilled, you know, no foreplay, just sex. Right, because it wasn't about you getting warmed up, you being into it and being stimulated. They were ready, and that was that. She said, he never asked for anything out of the norm and withheld sex from me, but was never faithful. And, you know, that's something else I wanted to point out to everyone. And thanks for mentioning that, Jane. I feel like survivors hold on to the sex when they're in that situation because it's the only thing that feels remotely intimate with the darn people, you know, like it's the only thing that could pass for some type of connection when you're thinking about the rest of the relationship, which is pretty crappy most of the time. It's like the one area that you might even be able to cognitively dissonance or possibly gaslight yourself into feeling like you have a connection with this person. So when they take it away from you, it's very noticeable because where else in the relationship does it feel remotely intimate? Pretty much nowhere else. So when they take that away, you know, you're going to feel that. And, you know, a lot of time it's going to be a desire to have that void filled back due to the trauma bond. But yeah, is the only thing that they're really offering you. Like if you strip that out of the relationship and what's left. And that's, you know, that's how you can tell what kind of relationship you got to begin with. Strip that out and what do you have left? And this isn't even for the ones who are obviously being abused during sex. Marnie Powell says, when I caught my ex cheating, he said he had slept with prostitutes. Oh my gosh. And that there was no emotion connection. Right. He was telling the truth. He also tried to convince me that the price he paid was because they were so beautiful. Right. But, we had to, their idea of what's beautiful and what's actually beautiful is not by the real standards. We're talking about a shallow person here. So if she looked right to his eyes physically, then yeah, now she's suddenly beautiful to them. Not anything on an internal, not if she really cares about him. He didn't care about none of that. Angel 7 said the narc was constantly on his phone, found several hookup sites he was on. Right. And then a whole bunch more that you don't even know about. They'll know about everything new with that porn and everything before everybody else. And they're down to try pretty much anything. And Marnie Powell says basically her husband that was with the prostitutes was her husband for 25 years. Well, God bless you, because I'm pretty sure he didn't just start doing that. And God bless you if you came out of that without any STDs. RTW says, is it not a sin in their eyes if they were not the initiator? No, it's not a sin in their eyes. No, it's not. That's why they're doing it. Narcissists run off of their flesh and their pleasure. So it's whatever feels good for them. The morality of it doesn't matter. They have no moral. They have an extremely low moral compass. I would just say they don't have one. Right. I can believe that, Natalie. I would just block it. And Diego says, as fake victims, they can do the most terrible things. Yeah. And he's just basically talking about how female narcissists understand how men with testosterone like to rescue. So, they're going to be the damsel in duress, or in distress. They know how to play off of that and get you on the chase and get you to do all types of things for them out of it. Because sex is just used as a tool to get things. That's how narcissists use sex, to get things. So if a narcissist stops having sex with you, it's because he's trying to get something for you. And if he's giving you sex, it's something that he just got or he's getting in the act of it. And that goes for he or she. Sex is just a tool to get stuff. That's it. It's a tool. So all that making love stuff, you could just cleanse your mind out of that. Yeah, their mothers usually are enablers and may even be the original narcissist in their life. And I've made videos over there on this channel about that. Finding the original narcissist in your life, who's usually may not be the person, that you're currently in that dating relationship with someone else. Hey, LaTanya. I know, girl, but I actually been around lately. So, maybe you could catch up on some of my recent uploads. I've kind of been doing a live chat every day. And, I told everyone it just made more sense to me to come on and talk about the topics than to have to make the videos, do these editings, and YouTube might take hours and hours to upload stuff at times. And it just makes life more easier and simplified for me. So every day I've been coming on with a topic that I might have just made into a video and, pumping it out that way. And then, those guys, happy to have haters says, wow, what you just said makes sense. But some guys seem to prefer to deal with drama-filled women. And you have to also understand that, the guys who prefer that, they may be emotionally unavailable anyway. So a drama-filled woman, she's emotionally unavailable too. So they're going to attract that same energy, and it kind of works out for them because then they never have to really have a real relationship, yet it's exciting for them and they still get into sex and everything. But it's really two emotionally unavailable people coming together. Happy to have haters said, even though I made him wait, I felt like, dang, I waited all that time. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Like, you got to be so careful. Those of you who are on a hiatus, be very careful. The more charming somebody is, be careful. Jane said, she had to terminate her pregnancy with a narcissist. And while she was in a hospital, he was with another woman. Right. Never there when you really need them. Never there. And I hope that, that relationship is completely over, Jane. Right. They will try to justify it and gaslight you to think that everything is okay. People, yeah. And speaking on that note, Jane, she's talking about the abortion, but people have given birth with the narcissist out partying with their friends and this and that. What celebrity just had a baby with a celebrity that may be a narcissist? And she had her baby and he was out at a casino or something? Like, because they weren't making that baby with you to really start a family. They're just securing supply. They're not really trying to be a father. They're going to dump as much as the responsibilities that the court don't make them do onto you. And even when the court try to make them, they'll try to find a way out of it or don't, go along with it. So Eva Roberts has a quick question. She says, hello, quick question. Why do people wait till they are emotionally availed? Oh, why don't people wait until they're emotionally available? Okay. What's the rush? The flesh. The human flesh is the rush. And then a lot of times there could be issues with codependency there. A lot of people don't know how to be alone. And, we're all sexual beings. So when we get that itch, some of us don't know how to appropriately deal with it. And we feel like we may need to rush to fill that void with probably a toxic person because we didn't really take the time to get to know them. And a lot of people don't want to wait and do the work because of their flesh. They're very fleshful at that point, honestly. Yeah. All right, you guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, yeah. We didn't even talk about the pills. There's just too much out here for a narcissist to dibble and dabble with. They could be using pumps and pills. Oh, my gosh. All types of stuff, you guys. New one says narcissism is the real pandemic. If you ask me, we need vaccinations of truth. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's so true. But yeah, they're the ones out there buying those fake women dolls with the fake poom pooms and stuff. Like, they're the ones, they into all of that. With the sex chambers, everything. They're very free flowing with it, but it's all coming from a self-absorbed level. Autumn says, I brought my newborn to my baby dad's house and we stayed the night. He took a picture of the baby, posted it on Facebook, and then left and went and stayed at another girl's house. Right. He just wanted to have, now he got some evidence, right? Evidence of that he's a good father. Just based off of this picture, he's going to put a hella bunch of lies and stories behind it. I was up with that baby every 2 hours, and then he'll probably smear you. She was just sleeping. I don't even understand what kind of mom she is. Like, oh my gosh. And speaking of which, Autumn, yes, they will be secretly recording you, taking pictures of you. Oh my gosh. And now it's so sneaky, like the way that people can spy and stalk and record others. So you have to be careful even going back to a guy's house. Like, he could be trying to do one of them sex videos on you. And you can upload that stuff on Pornhub or anywhere without you even knowing that you have a video floating around. Hold on, you guys. That's the twins, you guys. And they like, Ma, we want our mommy. So I'm about to hop off of here soon. But let me just finish up on any questions that are here. Narcs always rushing things to try to hook you before you realize who they are. Yeah, flip the side and the other person is fleshful, right? They do drugs, alcohol, whatever, right? And Autumn said he did, lied on Facebook. I'm keeping her from him. When they don't, right, right. They just care about their image. They really do. Anything to protect their image, even if it's a false, fake one. Eva Roberts says, were people always this way or just more noticeable now? I think it's more noticeable now, and it's more people like that. It's more noticeable and it's more volume. So, but there's always been narcissists, yeah. But there's definitely more of them. Whew. All right, you guys. I see there's 51 people in the chat. Please feel free to hit that like button, you guys. It really helps the channel grow. Always do that. I want to, grow the channel and bring more people in. If you have any videos or topics that you would like for me to address, I'm more than happy to do that. I'm happy to have haters says, so true. My ex keeps creating new social media pages to send me pics and videos. He had to get me to unblock them. Right. Because you got to create another one to message you after you block them on the other one. Oh my gosh. And then, they create new ones to draw in new people. Oh, they're not below putting sex ads out. I remember years ago when I was married, and a narcissist told me about another narcissist who had sex ads and on Craigslist. That might be vintage now, but I think people still probably doing stuff like that. But yeah, they have all types of, I mentioned earlier, those little swingers clubs and those group sex parties and stuff. They might try to bring you in and see how open you are. All right, Eva, you have a good evening. Oh, falling for Jesus. I am not going to be repeating that comment. Happy to have haters said, very true. My ex never put his hands on me, but his reputation was threatened. Yeah. Yeah, that's all they care about. Just looking good. Whether they're right or not, they just need to look good. And that's why you guys have to always be careful if you're doing anything legal with them. But with that being said, you guys, thank you for joining me with this live chat. If you came in on the back end, YouTube will upload this. I'm going to share the link on my private and public support group. If you haven't joined them, feel free to request it. Other than that, the content, there's over 700 videos here. Show the channel some love. Watch all the videos you want. Just make sure you hit that like button, leave comments. I do read all of them, you guys. Rhonda says dating sites is another place to get their ego stroked. Of course. And just regular ass social medias nowadays, these girls be half naked, showing it all. I was listening to somebody's live chat the other day, and she was like, does a typical man even get turned on by a regular woman nowadays? Because she's got all these women out here with the butt injections and all these surgeries and just over-sexualize, which actually desexualizes people and makes them number to the real damn thing. And that's what it is with the narcissists. They're so overly sexualized and they've done so much, Like they could have sexual issues too, They could have issues getting it up, but is it because they were masturbating since they were like 10, like a jackrabbit, Or they done took so many pills, or they can't get excited over a normal woman because they always watching porn and stuff. There's reasons behind these things. And, of course, a doctor could better explain. A lot of times it could be a blood flow issue too. It could be from doing a bunch of drugs. So, a narcissistic woman could have a dry vajayjay, And then, some of them might not even have the right hygiene. Okay, we ain't talk about the funky ones. And nobody should be going down to a funky one. Imagine a male narcissist wanting you to give him some fellatio, or give him some professional, and he all stinky and sweaty. Oh my gosh. Or just coming from being with somebody else, putting it in front of you. Oh my gosh. Some of them really have no shame. Narcissist women sleeping with multiple people in one day. The men too. Like, look, these people are off the chain. Anything goes. Like, anything goes. And they don't feel like they got to tell you nothing. They don't care about what you catch, And the worst thing, they could be the ones passing it out knowingly. Oh, I got it. Oh, they could be real bitter about it. I'm going to give it to as many people as I can. You're like, these are the people that got HIV knowingly passing that shit out. And they may not look sick yet. And today, medicine's come a long way. People will look healthier. They're not going to look like they got that HIV. Shoot. Oh my gosh. Right? Happy to have haters that pick a struggle. Like, narcissists never do that. That's so funny you said that. It's on a list for another video of things narcissists never do. Picking a struggle is definitely one of them. Like, all they come is with a bunch of them. Like, are you fucking crazy? Like, whoa. All right, you guys. It was great being on here, but I'm going to get off of here. Like I said, YouTube will re-upload this. And I'll probably come on and do a live chat tomorrow. It looks like I'm getting in a rhythm, but I hate, because I have like such a busy schedule. I'll be like non-committal. I don't want to say, well, I'll probably be doing a live chat every day. I'd rather just, stay the way it's working right now, because I'm able to stick to it. You guys are so welcome. And like I said, I did write a book for the rape survivors. The Silent Tears book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. You would just look up Lakia Crawford. It'll come up. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome to everyone. You guys have a great day. It's always fun to come on here. I'm so introverted. So it's like I get to come talk to my girlfriends and my guy friends and hang out with you guys when I come on here, because my circle is like non-existent. I don't mess with people like that. I do and I don't at the same time. And I'm cool with that, though. I really am. All right, you guys, you have a good evening, and I'll see you guys in the next live chat.